So recently I attempted to make 30 YouTube videos in 30 days. I experimented a lot
Alrighty, what is up, guys?
with different formats,
Welcome to another vlog about vlogging.
different styles,
Oh, this is actually pretty epic. This is pretty epic already.
did it by myself,
I'm going to talk about getting a tech job.
filmed with friends.
How did you go on your tasks?
So unbelievably good, I couldn't believe it.
I filmed at home as well as walking around the place. And through this experience and also through reflecting on it, I've actually learned quite a bit. So in today's video, I want to share my experience making a high volume of videos in a short amount of time. Why I think it's so important when starting off in content creation. And I also want to talk about its limitations and when it starts to stop making sense. So if you're keen to start making videos and you're trying to develop the habit and develop the muscle, then this video is especially for you. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about why it's so important and the good stuff first. So from experience, when you're intending to get into content creation and you're wanting to make YouTube videos, it's sort of a thing that you want to do, but you don't necessarily take so much action on it. And there could be stretches of time that pass by without you having made much progress. And when we actually don't make progress on the things that we say we want to do, it feels pretty bad. Like there's a sense of regret in a way, or the sense of like dissatisfaction. When I'm putting off the things that I want to be doing, I feel like there's a lack of integrity, and there's sort of like a subtle feeling where it's like something is wrong. Like I really need to be focusing on something and I'm not focusing on it. But the thing is, if we commit to making a YouTube video every day, that's a lot of movement and a lot of momentum towards the goal of making content. So there's negative emotions associated with not taking action or not working towards something which we say we want to do, or something that aligns with our goals. It gets replaced with positive emotions that are associated with taking the action, with having a sense of progress, a feeling that we're moving quick. Actually, we're doing what we said we'd want to work towards, right? And when we try to do it every single day, that feeling gets reinforced and you really start to feel like you're making progress and you're getting somewhere, rather than feeling stuck and complacent and like you're letting yourself down. I noticed it wasn't just about progress, but when you make videos at such a rapid rate, it's hard to take it seriously, and therefore it becomes fun in a way, right? Because you sort of just got to like stitch together a video in a short amount of time. You don't overinvest in a specific part of the workflow, and you don't fall in the trap of planning it too much and then sort of just losing the motivation and losing the momentum. So when you're doing it quick, it's sort of like you're pumping out video after video. It becomes fun because you don't take it that seriously, and you get to see the creation of a product from one end to the other end, rather than not doing it at all, or rather than doing too much of one bit and sort of just getting stuck, just sort of stopping. So that's the other aspect of feeling good. You, one, get a sense of progress instead of a sense of complacent and stuck. And two, it's actually a lot of fun. Now, the second reason why it's so important, this activity of making so many videos over and over again, day after day, is that it helps so much with learning. And this is so important when we're starting off and we're trying to learn the whole process and learn the skill of making YouTube videos or making content. It normalizes the process of creating content. When we're just starting off, even making one video is like very, very daunting. And even if it's not necessarily daunting, it takes a lot of effort. It's a big deal to make a video. If we wait too long before we make the next video, there's a risk that we're just not going to make it, right? But when we do it day after day, it normalizes the process of doing it. It becomes something which is normal to do, and then we can actually become consistent, right? And becoming consistent, just like with doing any other habit, is really important to getting better at it, right? So that's why I think we've tried to make a video, not like a perfect video or not like a masterpiece, but just do one day after day, every single day. Then it's easy to be consistent because we're making things easy by design, right? We're not setting the bar very high. The bar is just to make a video. So becoming consistent with it, it helps us learn the process naturally. You know, like when you start a new job and on the first day, everything can be overwhelming. Everything is new and you got to like use a lot of your brain for all the different parts of the job. But as you get used to any job, especially at the beginning when you're ramping up, you can look back and see how far you've come and how everything that sort of seemed so hard in the first place, it becomes natural, it becomes easy. You don't need to think about it that much. And then you can focus on like specific aspects and go deeper where you feel like you need to improve. That's how going through this activity, this exercise, helps us get better naturally. Say if you make like 30 videos in 30 days, by the end of it, a lot of it's going to be fluent from every stage in the process, from coming up with a title, from making the script, from making the thumbnail, from editing the video, from filming the video, setting up the camera gear, connecting up the lighting, connecting up the audio, all the different parts. It becomes fluent and it doesn't feel like a big deal. And that's a really important sort of stage to reach. Otherwise, if there's too much time in between each rep, then every time we're relearning it again, we don't have a chance to build that muscle memory. The second way being consistent helps us learn, it gives us an opportunity to practice deliberately, right? So if we're merely consistent and we're doing something every day, there's always the risk that we put so much effort in, but we're not actually going to get that much better. And that's because we're doing the same thing over and over again, or we're making the same mistakes over and over again. The way to overcome that is to learn from those mistakes and run experiments and run challenges and reflect on how things went, and then to apply those experiments and those challenges we come up with, and then again reflect on how they went, and then repeat that cycle over and over and over again. But to be able to even enter that game, we need to be consistent in the first place. And doing a high volume of videos enables that. You can make a video, and after each video, you reflect on how things went, what could have been improved on, or what we struggled on. You need to brainstorm what you could try next time that might have a positive impact. And then you choose an experiment from what you brainstormed, and next time you try that. This could apply to any stage of the workflow. So for example, once I realized I was sweating too much because the light was too intense and it was too bright. So therefore, the next time I experimented with turning it down, but I had to change the camera settings. Another time I just noticed the vibe was off and I was too stiff and I just really didn't seem like myself, which I think is still a problem. But then the experiment there would be just remembering before filming a video just to get in the right mindset and to try be a bit more chill and a bit more relaxed. Another example was when I was walking with my friend when we were filming a vlog at night, and we realized we couldn't actually see where we were walking and we were bumping into stuff because the light was so bright. After that, we realized it was no longer viable to use that specific light with my action camera to walk around and talk. So we just planted the tripod and we made a video just standing up and talking to the camera. Those type of mistakes and challenges we want to make. We want to make as many of them in a short amount of time so that we can reflect on the challenges that arises and then figure out how to improve, right? So it's really about getting our reps in, but not only getting our reps in, but between each rep, reflecting on how the previous rep went and how to make next time a bit better. So that's why it's such a good idea. However, towards the end of the challenge, I started noticing that something felt a bit off. It is such a good idea to do. I think it has a lot of potential to get a lot of us going and get the momentum and help us level up. But there are some limitations to this approach, and it's not actually sustainable in the long run. So the issue is the quality of the videos that are coming out, they actually don't end up being that good. And I think that's perfectly fine as long as we're aware of it, because the intention and the idea behind a 30-day YouTube challenge or making high volume of videos in a short amount of time, the person who benefits the most is the creator. Like, it's made so that the creator can learn and to experiment and get used to the process, but it actually doesn't benefit the viewer as much as it could, right? Because at the end of the day, we're not like dedicating as much time and as much care that would be required to make the video as good as it could be, right? Like, I used to teach high school maths. At one point, 3 of the classes I was teaching in a given week were actually the same content, right? And even though I would prepare for the first lesson, the second lesson would be way better than the first. And the third lesson would be way better than the second. The lesson I learned from this was that it actually helps a lot when you refine the ideas and you practice delivering the ideas and you give the process enough time. The final time expressing and communicating an idea or an argument or like a lecture, it tends to be so much better than the first time no matter how much you prepare for the first. And so how does this actually apply to content creation? Doing one video every day doesn't even allow us enough time to consider doing retakes or consider sitting on a script and viewing it with fresh eyes the next day and sort of editing it and editing it and editing it until it seems better enough to then practice filming it and filming it enough times until it feels appropriate. On the contrary, how I felt when I was doing one video a day is that I was very rushed. I'm working full time as well, so I'd set a timer for each stage of the process where it's like 10 minutes for the script, 10 minutes for the title, 10 minutes to film it, 10 minutes to make the thumbnail, 10 minutes to edit it. And that's already like 50 minutes for a rush job. And whenever I plan things out, it usually takes longer than I initially planned. So it would often take like 1.5 hours or 2 hours for a rush job, right? So that's the limitation. The limitation is that the product isn't actually as good as it could be. And at the end of the day, that means what we're making isn't that good. It's sort of like spammy. Not only is it not beneficial for the viewer, like as a creator, it doesn't actually feel that rewarding after a while. Because after a while, the sense of like movement and progress and exhilaration with just making videos, after it normalizes and you feel very comfortable making it, you're left with the final product, which is what you upload. And it actually doesn't feel that good to be making content which you don't feel like you gave it a good enough effort or good enough shot. Like a lot of the stuff I make and have made, I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing with others. And I don't think it would actually benefit them, right? And so I think we've got to be clear about the time and place where a 30-day challenge is actually appropriate. It is completely appropriate when we're starting out. It's completely appropriate when we want to learn and we want to get fluent. It's completely appropriate when we want like a boost and we need like a level up, or we need to get out of a bit of a slump or a bit of complacency. But after a while, it's gonna feel bad unless I dedicate more care and more time to sitting on the ideas and refining them and making sure that I've given a good enough effort to making the video before moving to the next one. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. Initially, I was going to talk about my strategy going forward, but I think it's going to be a long enough video already. So in this video, I just wanted to keep it to the 30-day challenge, why it's good, why it's necessary, but importantly, when it makes sense and when it sort of starts to stop making sense, at which stage I think it's appropriate to slow down a bit and put more time, effort, and care to the actual product. Anyway, that was my ramble for today. So I hope it was useful, hope it was interesting. That is it for now. Goodbye for now, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.